Of course, today we are continuing on our journey of Advent as we go through the Advent season in preparation and preparing our hearts for Christmas. And today we're going to look at the word joy. And I've been stuck on the word joy for a while now. And I think it's gone back to basically around the time that I was having my surgery. I was reading about joy, and I read this story surrounding the birth of Jesus, and I came to the part of the story, the part where the wise man said they were filled with great joy, and it just kind of jumped off the page at me, and I felt I needed to read on, and I did, and I realized that within the story is this great formula for Advent and for Christmas celebration. And so I thought, let's just tear this thing apart today and look at it and see what it means to me. And I'm going to warn you, I'm going to dispel some myths here this morning. I'm going to say some things that we kind of think happened the way it happened. And you're going to find out that maybe not necessarily. So it says now after Jesus was born, and I know I'm preaching about after Jesus, before Jesus is born in our Christmas Advent season, but that's okay. I'm allowed to do that. So it says, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem. Now, there is no proof that they came from the Orient. We think they came from the Orient. They came from the east. East goes a long way. East goes so far until it comes back. So we don't know. They just came from the east. They didn't show up minutes after the birth of Jesus. We like to do the little nativity scene, and we like to have the wise men there. They weren't there. They weren't at the manger. And text will prove it today. They came weeks, maybe months after. They were most likely astrologers. And it never says there were three. They came to Judea. The natural place to go when you're looking for the king of Judea is to go to the city of Jerusalem. So that's where they go. They go to the city of Jerusalem. And so it says, saying, where is he who has been born, the king of the Jews? For we saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him. They had no reason to hide why they were there, right? They came on this voyage and probably assumed to be there has one purpose, right? To come and praise him and to honor him. And they probably thought the whole nation would be in celebration of the new king being born. Like, we only really deal with one monarchy, and the queen just died and Chuck became king. But there goes my knighthood, right? Anyway, but I remember when Charles and Diana were having kids. And I remember the excitement when they had the first son, right? So they kind of probably expected there's a new king born in Jerusalem, and so let's go celebrate with everybody else. We have come to worship the new king. That's their words. That's why we're here. So in verse 3 it says, when Herod heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. So Herod was troubled. And Jerusalem, who is supposed to have just had a new king born, is troubled. Why would they be upset? Well, Herod, for Herod's part, the Jews were under his control. He oversaw them. And why would the people, and so if he oversaw them and he was in control and he was the boss, yeah, there's a new king born. So, in other words, your retirement is on the horizon here, kind of thing. So, yeah, he would be upset. And why would the people be upset? It was not because the promise of Messiah had arrived. It was because Herod was upset. When Herod was upset, everybody paid for it. So, everybody's on edge. In verse 4, and assembled all the chief, so he was upset, and he assembled all the chief priests and the scribes of the people and inquired of them where the Christ was to be born. Now, Herod was not a Jew, but And he'd have no idea where to look, so he calls together the group of people that he knew would know about it, and he calls together the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the Sanhedrin. And these guys, they look at the book of the laws and the prophecy, and oddly, these two groups of people, which led the nation of Israel spiritually, the Pharisees and the Sadducees, agreed not very often. There was contention between these two groups. And together they made the Sanhedrin. And they disagreed about a lot of stuff, but they agreed about this answer. They told him, in Bethlehem of Judea, for so it is written by the prophet. Now here's an interesting little tidbit of information. They said, I wondered why they said Bethlehem of Judea. Get this. There were two Bethlehems, and they're only 7 miles apart. Isn't that interesting? There was Bethlehem of Judea, and there was Bethlehem of Galilee. 7 miles apart. It's like if Howick was called Ormstown. Where are you going? Ormstown. Really? Which one? So there's two Bethlehems. Bethlehem of Judea and Bethlehem of Galilee, 7 miles apart. Bethlehem of Judea because he was to be born in the line in the city of David. That was prophecy. That's where he was supposed to be born. And that's what they looked up. He didn't say, where was he born? Where was he supposed to be born? He's supposed to be born in Bethlehem of Judea because it is the city of David. He is supposed to be of the line of David. And we've been talking about that when God gave the promise to David. I will put one of yours on the throne and he will reign forever. So he's going to come out of the line of David. That was the prophecy. So in verse 6, they quote the prophecy. O you Bethlehem, in the land of Judea, are by no means least among the rulers of Judea. For from you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people, Israel. That's from Micah chapter 5, verse 2. That's what they're quoting. And so, what is Bethlehem? Bethlehem is a little four corners in the backwoods of nowhere. So it's kind of understandable that they would go to Jerusalem and think, well, a king comes out of a king, right? Like they follow the lineage, so he should be born in the city where the king lives, where the ruler lives. But no, he was born in Bethlehem. Then Herod summoned the wise men secretly, ascertained from them what time the star had appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem, saying, go and search diligently for the child. And when you have found him, bring me word that I may come and worship him. And we all know that this is a lie, right? We all know this is a lie because Herod's trying to get rid of the king of the Jews. He wants to get rid of him. And he will later order that every male child under the age of 2 will be executed. So we know that time frame of when the wise men came, it's not the night he was born. He threw a broad net and said 2 years and under. And I was reading this and he says, he summoned the wise men secretly. You know when Herod calls you to a secret meeting, it can't be good. Go find him for me, basically is what he asked. And he knows the place, and he knows the time frame. More proof, again, that they weren't there. And after listening to the king, they went on their way, and behold, the star that they had seen, listen to this, I want to read this slowly. The star that they had seen when it rose went before them until it came to rest over the place where the child was. So there's a lot said in there. This star is not stationary. This star is moving. They are following a moving star. And it doesn't come to rest over where the child was born, but where the child was. And I just find that so interesting. It was leading them. Like we get excited with a GPS. And it came to rest over where the child was, and the star must have been over the town of Bethlehem. They had searched, and they found him for themselves. So when they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. And that's the word. That great joy hit me. That's what hit me. Great joy. Although they really didn't know, we don't know where they came from, we know that they had a long journey. We know they came in search of the King of Jews, and now they had found him. They had left a lot, right? These, we'll say 3 for publishing reasons, but we don't know how many. They'd left their homes. They'd probably left family. They'd left friends. They'd left everything to go in search of this king. And so they came in search of the King of the Jews, and now they have found him, so they are filled with great joy. A treasure hunt that you found the treasure, right? Like there's that show on TV where they're looking for, on an island off of Nova, like, give it up, people, go home. We're in season 9. We found 2 coins and a bullet. Like, live it up. Anyway, okay. And going to the house, right? Going to the house, not to the manger. He's not in the barn anymore. My mother used to say to me, when I leave the door open, you're born in the barn. I'd say, no, Jesus was. I still have handprints somewhere. And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, and they fell down and they worshiped him. They fell down and they worshiped him. Then opening their treasures, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And there's a lot of symbolism in there. They were not from there, right? They were strangers. This is not their king. We need to get our head around that. That's not their king. Yet they worshiped him. I don't know if they just kind of felt that connection, but it's not their king, and they worshiped him. We may get an idea that there were only 3 of the wise men because of the 3 gifts, but we really don't know that. And then in verse 12, and being warned in a dream, did not return to Herod, departed to their own country by another way. Just wrap your head around that. And again, we'll say 3. 3 guys are sitting around one morning and said, did you see that star last night? Want some more coffee? Did you see that thing? Where do you think that is? And they're astrologers. There's a new king. Pack up everything and travel. I don't know how far, but it's not like bullet train, right? It's camel or mule or on foot. And we will travel for I don't know how long and find this king. And we found him, worshiped him, and it's like, okay guys, time to go home. Like I just think the whole story is just amazing that they would do this. But you can bet, we don't know how long they stayed. We really don't know. But you can bet that they took some stories home with them, right? We saw him. There had to be some kind of spiritual connection because, like, it doesn't say the star was 3 feet over the roof of the house. Like, it was over the city of Bethlehem, over that house, but, like, stars are a long ways away, right? And they must have felt this spiritual connection because they worshiped him. And imagine going home and telling your family about that. So, in all of that, I find this great, great formula for Christmas. A formula that I need to follow. Maybe a formula that we all need to follow. But first off, they had curiosity. And if you're new to church, whether you're here or you're watching online or whatever you're doing, if you're feeling this stirring and you're trying to figure it out, you know that saying, curiosity killed the cat? Well, it's not true here. Because curiosity drove me forward in my faith. Because when people come, here I'm going off the track here, but I had a history teacher that I really didn't like too much. Ironically, he was a Nazarene pastor, but anyway. Harley Bai was teaching me history in grade 9. And I was trying to figure something out. And I went up to him and I said, I'm very confused. And you know what his answer was? Good. When you're grade 9, you're like, that's a stupid answer. Like, good? And I said, what do you mean good? And he said, because it means you're thinking. It means you're thinking. And I think the same thing with your faith. They were curious enough to learn about what they were seeing. And people come and they start coming to church and they say, you know, I'm confused. I don't understand it. That's okay. It's good. Get a Bible and get reading. Get digging. Get looking. Get searching. Try and figure this out. If we can help you, we'll help you. You know, we live in a world that says believing is seeing, but when it comes to faith, seeing is believing, but when it comes to faith, believing is seeing. There's a lot of things I didn't understand until I believed. And that's that step of faith, right? So they had this curiosity, they went after it. Clearly, God had decided that they should be part of this story. You know what? You're part of this story too. We're all part of this story. And somehow God is able to speak to them because they were listening. The call of God on them was to follow this star. The star sent by God. So clearly follow God, right? So there's step 2. Be curious. Follow God. He'll lead you to where you need to be. They learned somehow that they were not being led to see the new king of the Jews. What? Sorry, I wrote my notes wrong. Oh yeah. They learned somehow that they were being led to see the new king of the Jews and not their king, and yet they still went. They sought him out and they found him. Finding him, they worshiped him and were filled with great joy. And they gave him what they had. So, really the question that when I went through all this, how would this apply to us? How do we find joy at Christmas? Joy in the baby of Christmas. Joy in the Savior of Christmas. Joy in the message of Christmas. I love that part where it said, where they sought him. Jeremiah 29 says this, "You will seek me and you will find me when you seek me with all your heart." And they did that. They did that. They left what they had behind to go figure this thing out. Like they really didn't know. They were going to find the king of the Jews, but they really didn't know any more than that. They didn't know where it was going to take them. They didn't know how long it was going to take them. They didn't know if all of them were going to make it. They didn't know how long they'd be away from their family. Yet they went. They sought him with all their hearts. You see, that's where I think we get the word wise men. It doesn't say, and a gang of yahoos. Wise men. Why were they wise? I believe they were wise because they listened to God. They clearly sought him with everything they had. And just like them, if we see him and seek him with everything we have, we will find him. That curiosity does not have to be painful. It's okay to not understand it all. I don't understand it all. Any God that you can put in a box is not my God. They were filled with joy when they saw the star, not because of the star itself, although that would be pretty exciting, to see a new star that's leading you down the highway and then stops over the address you're looking for. But how much more joyful would they have been when they saw him? How much more joyful will you be when you look down at that babe in a manger, if that's how it works for you with the nativity scene, and actually see the Savior? Actually understand why he came. Actually understand what he brought to you. They gave gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and he offers you eternity in heaven. How much joy do we feel when we look at Christmas? Not as a time when we get together with family and friends, not just a time to eat some poor unsuspecting bird, but when we take the time to actually look at Christmas and look at Christ for who he is, there is nothing but joy. One of the amazing things that happened with me and that grade 9 history teacher is we became friends. And we did ministry together. And I kind of adopted his little theology that if you're confused, good, because it means you're thinking. God can do amazing things. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for today, and I thank you that you filled my heart with joy when I think of what Christmas means to me. And Lord, I pray that I would not be the one. I pray that we would not be the ones. I pray that we stand in the road of no one who wants to come to you, who is seeking you out. Lord, help us to seek you with all our heart and to be cheerleaders for anybody else that's seeking. Help us to be pathways and light and helpers and handholders to those who are seeking the joy of your salvation. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Have a great week.